It's time once again for the Rusty Nut Show, and here I am with the Rusty, and I'm of course the Nutty because, well, we all know that I'm much funnier than my Uncle Pat, and I'm filling in for him today. So what's up, Gabe?
Yeah, you're definitely funnier, but I don't know about funnier looking because Patricia gets the crown for that, being the queen of funny looking.
On that one, you have to be born that way, though. So that's I can't beat him on that one.
You can't. Oh, he drew the straw on that one. Anyway,
He drew the
uh,
straw on that one.
thank you so much for having us. Thanks for being on the show. Thanks for covering for Patricio. Patricio, I
Anytime.
hope you're having a good time there in the mountains. Um, the target of this show, to those of you who just chimed in, by chance on the radio dial today, and those of you who listen regularly, the purpose of the Rusty Nut Show is to help people learn how to keep their second largest investment, second only to your home, usually is your automobile, whether it be a car, truck, or SUV, how to keep it in front of the tow truck versus on the tow truck. Follow?
Mhm. Definitely follow.
Awesome. And this show we do, it's an attitude of gratitude. I think your station, I owe a lot of gratitude to your family and the station for giving shows like this a voice. I feel, very adamant that you guys do a great job of bringing information to people that is useful to them, whether you're doing the water show, or you guys are talking with the mayor, or you guys are covering fiestas, whatever it is, there's always something local to be learned.
Well,
So
we're the little guys, so we got to give other little guys the voice. You know what I mean? So that's how it works.
and it works really good, and I'm a fan of it. I was way before the show. That's where I learned a lot. I mean, even what you teach us about recyclables, it's huge. I mean, it pertains to us right outside the door, and that's critical information that can be even confusing with this, what goes in the blue bin and what doesn't, and all that. So anyway, thank you so much to Quesuave. I also like to take a minute always to thank my team here at the Auto Angel. If it wasn't for you know David and Antonio and Todd, Emilio, Adan, Norma, Owen, and Vanessa. Vanessa Montoya is our newest addition to the Auto Angel family.
We'll add
Uh,
her down for the next time.
yeah, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to have the freedom to be here with you every week. So I'm very appreciative of them. Today would be Taco Tuesday. How about that? Boom.
Hey, I loves me a taco, and also, I like me Tuesdays because you're already over the grunge of like getting over the weekend, so you're good. You're good to go.
Monday is kind of my favorite day of the week because I don't have any promises to keep usually on Monday. Monday's starting off
Really?
a clean slate. Yeah, for me, I show up here. And again, I don't really have any promises to keep. Now, Friday is everyone's favorite day, but for me, those are all my deadlines. Those are all the promises I said I was going to keep. I have to make them.
Everybody wants their car for the weekend.
Everybody needs everything done. So I like my Mondays. But anyway, Taco Tuesday is awesome. We always do a red, white, and blue thank you on this show. This is to all enlisted servicemen and women, active duty, stateside, abroad, reservists, veterans, but more than anything to their families, the familias that they left behind while they're serving. So I always like to say, and Patricio and I always reinforce the fact that, at dinner tables all across the United States, there's empty chairs for their loved ones, and they don't maybe even know where they are, or they know that for a fact they're in harm's way, or they're in basic training. It doesn't matter. The reality is for them, it is a reality. That empty chair of someone they care about is critical. And for you and me and Patricio and everyone else listening to have the freedom that we have to do, whatever we want every day, that's awesome. And I know first responders for you is dear to heart. Why don't you talk about that real quick?
Well, my brother is a first responder. He's a firefighter. He's an engineer for Station One, which is downtown. So that's pretty cool. And I point back
Awesome.
there because that's direction. That's the direction where I'm at as downtown. But yeah, no. So all of his friends, I've gotten to know a lot of the firefighters just through my brother. And you see them, and they're the most down to earth people you ever meet. And you see why those people are so humbled because those guys do the toughest job in the world. They save other people, and so they don't look at it as like something that, oh man, I'm the best person here and I'm doing a big service. They look at it as, what, I'm doing the best I can do to help this person out, and that's just who they are. So like my Uncle Pat always says, these people are a different breed. They really are. I mean, I told him, I said, hey, next time you find like if there's a fire around me, it's probably because I started it. You can just kind of leave it alone or something like that. That is a joke. That's a joke. Also,
You were barbecuing.
barbecuing something that shouldn't be barbecued, but yeah, also just to the big a big shout out to the police officers. A lot of people don't give them enough credit. We have officers out here that are just, they're here just to protect the peace, just to keep you and me safe. And they're the ones that end up going on every call that the fire station does too. So, you know what I mean? They're there making sure everybody's safe and sound and ready to get to the hospital as quick as they can. Or they're there if somebody broke in your house, if something's going on outside that you don't like, they're the ones that show up. So we need to be thankful for that as much as we can. So
I agree 100% and be respectful. I mean, they're doing their job. Patricia always says, don't shoot the messenger. And maybe that's kind of weird to say when we say the word shoot in police, but reality is, if you call for the police's help, for sure you want to be respectful to them. But also if you're in the wrong, I'm speeding down Service Road, I get pulled over, I need to be respectful to them because I'm in the wrong. I don't like it like everybody else. I want to be able to do what I want. I want it's my world, the world according to Gabe, but that's not the reality of it. And I still owe them the respect that they deserve because they're putting themselves in harm's way to keep, the rest of the people around me safe. So I appreciate what they do. I really do.
That's a good one. A good tip for anybody getting pulled over is treat them like your parents. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. That's how it works.
Man, I wish we could say everyone treated their parents right. Let's just say treat them with respect.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Sorry, man. But anyway.
You're right. Okay. That's a different topic. Not today's topic. That's a different one.
Let's move into the Azul Gracias. This is where we say a blue collar thank you. I'm going to twist it around. I mean, we've done everything from linemen, mail carriers. It goes on and on and on. But something that I think that we need to touch on is I'm usually after the little guy. I'm usually after the one that doesn't get any of the thank yous or isn't getting maybe as much pay or respect. But this time I'm going to reach out to the restaurant owners because right now through this whole pandemic, we've prior to the pandemic and even now after that, we think it's kind of lifted. We take them for granted in a lot of cases. You go to a restaurant and you're blown away that it's too busy, or you can't believe that they can't seat you right away, or that they have a different menu, or maybe they have different hours. So please, all of you listening out there, thank those restaurant owners for even fighting to stay alive, fighting to keep jobs. A lot of those owners are chefs, and those chefs are, in the kitchen. Some of them, their wives are up front taking orders. Their kids are working the counters. I just want to say a huge thank you to all these restaurant owners that make it possible for us to go out and enjoy a meal, or in some cases, maybe you are that cop on duty and that's the only option is to go out to eat. So having restaurants available to them is critical. I really appreciate the fact that we can do that in this country.
Very much so. We also get very accustomed to our lifestyle. We don't know how awkward it'd be if we weren't able to go grab that quick taco or that big that nice quick burger or stop in at Castro's and get a bite to eat, because I know I'm not good at making food. I know I'd be a lot thinner if I'd be having to cook my own food, because half of it
good at eating.
would be burnt and the other half would be cereal. So big shout out to the restaurants.
We're all good at eating, that's for sure. All right. I didn't say earlier on, I didn't say hi to my mom. Did you say hi to your mom? Hi, Mom.
Hey, Mom, how are you?
And then I got to say hi to my suegra. I got two suegras. So I got one in town and one up north. Hello to my suegras and my wife, Carolina. She don't listen, but hi to her anyway. All right.
One of these days she'll catch you on it.
On the day I don't say hi. Anyway, the Kyobo of the day, this is where Patricia and I just kind of pick some people in the community and we just say hello. I want to say Kyobo to Will over at Caliper Collision, Glenn and Jonathan Harami over at Glenn's Garage, James over at Portillo's Alignments and Brakes, and last but never least, Martin Gonzalez. So he's, he helps with the Santa Fe Community College automotive program. He retired from Capital Ford. A lot of people know him as their baseball coach. Martin Gonzalez, very involved in the community. And so I want to say hi to all those people. Do you got somebody you'd like to say Kyobo to?
A big Kyobo to Ranger out at Ranger's Garage. I took him my stepbrother's little Jeep. And you know what? That guy found out the problem real quick, and he's on it. And I forgot to leave him my number, and so he's all, I'm going to call the radio station. I was about to call the radio station because you didn't call me back. I said, I'm so sorry. It was a busy Friday, but he got it in and took care of it real quick, and just turned out to be fine. Also, a big shout out to Tony's Towing, Tony Padilla, I think. Am I right on? Yep, Tony Padilla. So he was real quick. He helped me get the thing started, and I thought the alternator was gone, but that goes to show what I know. Nothing.
There you go. See, I always like to joke that danger lurks where Ranger works.
There you go. So no, they helped it out. They were real quick with it, and they were very nice, and very easy to understand what I had to do. So very big shout out to you guys.
Good job. So now we're gonna go to a quick Spanglish lesson. Now we got Norma, the notorious Norma, loud and proud. Are you ready for this? You ready to learn some Spanglish?
I'm ready. I can guarantee you I'm not good, but I'm going to learn. I'm going to do my best.
So Patricio is absent. You believe that? Right when we were gonna get him. Anyway, and Patricio always says while we're switching the mic over to Norma, he always wants to say thank you to Advanced Auto Parts over on Siler Road.
Big thank you to Advanced Auto Parts.
Yeah, without them, this show wouldn't be possible. So thank you so much for your support there. And no, without further ado, La Norma.
Hola,
Norma, how are you?
están? Good. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm so blessed. God is good and the day is beautiful.
Yeah, excellent. So Patricio ran away because we were going to do another test for him.
He knew what you had in store for him. He knew that you were going to get it.
No, this time it's gonna be easy. So it's gonna be patience. Do you know how to? Yeah. Do you know how to say it in Spanish?
I can say it with an accent, but I can't say it in Spanish.
Say it.
I don't know how to say it. No.
Paciencia.
Paciencia.
Sí. Gabriel's wife have to have a lot of paciencia.
That is the most wisdom I've heard from this show in a long time.
Yes. So hi to everyone out there. Stay safe, okay?
Thank you so much, Norma. Paciencia. That is I love me. Hey, that's what I got to work on. I got to work on some more paciencia in my life.
Okay, muy bien. Hasta luego. Bye bye.
Gracias, adios.
All right, Vanessa, you can say hi.
Hi.
Hi, Vanessa.
Oh, hello, everybody. All right, let's rock and roll. Time to get out of all this fun stuff and let's teach somebody something worth their time listening. Are we ready?
I'm ready, man. Today I heard we're talking about something pretty darn cool. Well,
Well,
at first it may look general, but it is cool once you listen to it.
every week we pick a different topic, and it's usually something that is inspired by a vehicle that came in here, a customer's complaint or something. So what I get asked a lot about is, what's the best kind of car to buy? So that question comes up over the dinner table, you know, at events, wherever I am at. If once people realize that, you know, I have a background in auto repair, they figure I should know which is the best car to buy. You know what my answer is?
Whatever one you like.
A truck.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one.
You know, I really think that it's very versatile, and it really gives. I think, you know, every household probably should have at least one pickup, but I may not be right. But I definitely feel like a pickup has the ability to give you options, and we're going to go over that. So, and we're going to go over which kind of trucks and why, etc. So we're going to dive into that with. So the next question, usually when I answer to, you know, tell somebody, you know, what's the best car to buy? I say a truck. Then their next question is, what kind of truck? And that's where it gets a little difficult. I jokingly will say this, is that the Rusty Nut certified opinion is you need 3 trucks. So
Your daily driver for your daily driver?
well, there's some benefits. Like we got a 4-cylinder little 2-wheel drive manual transmission truck. It's basically a wheelbarrow with an engine. And the versatility of this little pickup is it's lower to the ground. So like if you go to Lowe's and you buy a water heater, loading it in that little truck's easy because you don't have to pick it up so high. You don't need a forklift to put it in your truck. You just pretty much slide it right off the carrier right in the back of the truck. And when you get home, it's small enough that it fits right in your driveway. You can probably pull it in the garage even with the water heater in it. And so having a little pickup like that can really be huge for a family to say, wow, I can't believe how much work you can do with a little pickup. I mean, you can fill it up.
It's easy on gas. It's a 4-cylinder.
Yeah, definitely good on gas. Easy to go to the dump and things that people always claim they're going to use their pickup for. So definitely a useful trick or useful truck to do those kinds of tricks with. Next, you know, having a more modern 4-door, 4-wheel drive pickup with a camper shell really makes things, it opens your opportunities. So when I say this 4 doors, I mean, that means you can carry multiple adults if you need to, or kids. The camper shell really makes it so that if you're carrying your pet families, your dogs with you, which is very popular, you know, it gives them a safe place. And I found that a truck with a rubber bed mat inside, they make different liners and all kinds of things, but the rubber bed mat is still available through an aftermarket source. You could buy one from Advanced or any parts store that you feel, or order one maybe, but that really gives dogs a grip when they're in the back of your truck.
So they're not sliding everywhere.
Yeah, it's not as dangerous for them, 1. And 2, if they mess it up. So, you know, dogs will be dogs. if they get car sick, let's say, or they're just, you took them to the mountains and they rubbed in some gross cow feces or whatever it is, you could slide that bed mat out and wash the back of the truck. Very versatile for having pets. And it really makes it, I think, safer for them. When you do have to stop, let's say, I don't know, maybe you stop to go into the grocery store real fast. A camper shell is a safe place for the dogs to be. They have big windows you can open. They have screens to protect them. There's a lot of different reasons why having a camper shell on the back of a small pickup like that is really versatile. So again, the 4-wheel drive, 4-door really for around here gives you a lot more opportunities. And then the last truck that really helps people, if they have one, is going to be something that's 3/4 ton.
Like a diesel.
Maybe, but at least the not necessarily the diesel, but the 3/4 ton really opens your opportunities that you won't ever have to ask your Uncle Pat to borrow his truck to haul something. I mean, if you
don't ask him anymore. We saw what he did with it, so we just
there you go. See, don't ask. But I mean, if you borrow a truck, then you're liable, things like that. So having a 3/4 ton truck just means like now you open your horizons to being able to do even more different things. So there's different reasons why a 3/4 ton over maybe a 1/2 ton. So, let's say you can only buy one and you don't have room for 3 or a need for 3. Which one should you go? So we're going to go over that now. I went over my joking answer, which is having 3 different trucks because they don't make a perfect one. Now I'm going to talk about how do you buy them and the pros and cons of owning them. So let's talk about, first of all, those of you who are thinking you've never owned a truck or you don't want one and you're going to turn the radio off. I get it, but let's talk about it. I mean, there's pros and cons to it. So cars are easier to maneuver and park than trucks, right? They don't take up as much room. Trucks are a little bit more expensive. Usually you can get a higher end car than you can get an inexpensive truck for. So that is another pro for the car. Fuel economy. Cars get, better fuel economy. An average car is going to get into the 30 mile per gallon range, and most average trucks are going to be in the 20s, low 20s, some of them in the teens. So there's not a lot of, merit for buying that pickup truck if you're going to use it like a car. But cargo space, trucks have a lot of cargo area as far as hauling goes. So that truck bed can fit a lot more things than your car can. Seating capacity, most of these trucks now are 4 doors. They have just as much room inside as an SUV for the most part. So that's something that's a pro for a lot of truck owners. Insurance costs. I think truck insurance can be more affordable than cars in a lot of cases. But that would take a phone call to your insurance, but something to consider if you're, on the fence of whether or not you really want to own one. And then the variety, there's so many more cars available for you to choose from than there are pickup trucks. They're just, you go over to, let's say Chevrolet, they got so many more different cars available for you to pick from as compared to pickup trucks. It's pretty much, small or medium or large when it comes to pickups. Towing though, most cars don't have the power, or they're just not designed to tow, much less have the accessories to do it. So cars aren't a great option for towing. And then of course those off-road capabilities, people around here in up northern New Mexico, some people just to get home need a pickup truck. So having that extra ground clearance, more durable suspension, a lot of them are 4-wheel drive, off-road packages, all that makes having a truck just that much more useful for a lot of people. There is a drawback though when it comes to like security. If you have stuff in the back of the truck bed, without a camper shell, it's definitely more, available to theft or damage from the elements. So that's something else to consider. Mm-hmm. What do we got time wise? We're in about halfway. So let's talk about 1/2 ton, 3/4 ton, and 1 tons. How's that sound?
That sounds good to me.
Awesome.
That's something I don't know about, so that's really good.
Well, they're classified, even SUVs can be classified as, in that 1/2 ton range or 3/4 ton range. So you could see even like a big Yukon, like your uncle has, maybe be able to tow his boat or his camper, where maybe your smaller SUV, maybe you have an Explorer or something that's just not designed because it's more of a 1/2 ton versus a 3/4 ton. Follow?
Yep.
Okay, so let's go in. They're generally classified by their payload capacities, meaning the maximum weight that pickup or SUV can carry in its cargo and passenger areas combined, not just in the back. Payload is not just what's in the back of the truck. Does that make sense?
It does.
So it includes when you
people who are in the vehicle.
So you got your working guys, work truck. You see 4 guys going down the road plus a utility bed full of tools. That's why those guys have that 3/4 ton truck, because all the weight they're carrying. But they need it. That makes a big difference. It includes all the stuff that is carrying. The tongue weight designates correspond to a truck's payload capacity, but they're not. It's just class. It's like the best way to classify truck is going to be half ton, and then that's the most popular probably, and then 3/4 ton, and then of course we get into the 1 ton. So traditionally, a ton is 2,000 pounds, right? So that's how much a ton weighs, meaning a half ton truck would have a payload capacity of half that. So it's like 1,000 pounds. Follow?
Golly, that's a lot.
And then a 3/4 tons are going to go up to about 1,500 pounds. And then of course, 2,000 pounds up to for the 1 ton. I think most of these vehicles are probably capable. And I think you've seen trucks driving down the road they're way overloaded. So they'll do it, but that doesn't mean they'll do it safely. Another one that people like that's common around here is going to be dualies. So a lot of times people want or feel like they need a big truck with dual rear wheels. Now that DRW or dual rear wheel, it's going to increase the safety and the stability of towing because we just added 2 more tires.
So if you had a dually, then that what would be a main cause for owning one? And that's just, you know what I mean, mechanically speaking, what would be the best use if you had a dually, or if you were going to buy a dually? Would it be just for pulling trailers? Would it be for pulling goosenecks, horses, stuff like that, or?
So I think all of the above. That's a great question. That's a profound question, as Patricia would put it. The whole point of adding those extra tires is we added weight capacity. So we added stability because now it's a wider footprint. So now, that camper that's going to be leaning, giving you that lean top end heavy, the right to left lean, you have that extra tire out there that's going to really kind of help give you the stability. And also that extra tire is going to help with the weight capacity because each tire is rated from maximum weight that individual tire can carry. When with dualies comes a whole different responsibility. I mean, right off the bat, you got to buy 2 more tires. I mean, that's an expense that you may want to consider before you go out and rush out and buy a dually. Dualies are harder to drive for a lot of people. I mean, you've all seen them. They take up the whole lane. And all of us have seen a dually with half the fenders missing or both fenders missing. And that's because somebody just didn't calculate or see that. They're not used to it, and they leave that fender on, a post or something. So dualies, definitely you want to, if you're thinking about buying one, you really want to take your time to learn how to use it, how to take wider turns, how to be more patient, especially in traffic. The benefits, though, may outweigh, that small imposition is just going to be that you do have a 5th wheel or a gooseneck that you want to haul with it. But those of you listening, you might see a truck right now, 2 of them right next to each other. One's a dually carrying a 5th wheel, and then there's a single rear wheel truck carrying a 5th wheel. They have the capability. It's just for the owner of that dually, he now can buy a bigger, heavier one potentially because his load carrying capacity has been increased by adding that bigger rear axle with the extra tires.
Got it.
Well, awesome. So, there's a bunch of reasons why dualies are a bit more, some even aftermarket wheels. You see a lot of these big fancy diesel trucks with these dually wheels. Some of them can't be rotated. The wheels can't be put in the front because they're fancy wheels. So that's something else to consider. So like the whole reason we rotate tires is to get the most life out of the tire. So, most vehicles,
efficiency.
Yeah, well, most of these pickup trucks, when they leave from a stop, will spin the right rear tire a little bit, and you're going to get more wear on that tire. So by rotating them, we're going to try and move that tire over so it gets a little bit less wear and put one that has more tread back there and keep rotating and get the best life out of them. But with a dually, with those custom wheels, you can't turn it around. You can't move it up front and flip it over because they're custom wheels. So now if you're going to rotate them, you're going to have to pay to get them dismounted. The tire would have to come off the wheel. That's a huge expense. It's time consuming. So just something else to consider. They look cool. And if you can afford to go through all that, a lot of people do it. So more power to them. It's just something to consider. If you're buying a dually and it has those custom wheels, you might ask that owner, hey, what do you do about tire rotations? And they may explain to you how much of a hassle it is. Or maybe I'm wrong on those wheels. But usually those dual rail wheels, you can, on a stock steel wheel, you could take it off and move it to the front and just flip it inside out and it'll go right on. But not on all of them. So that's something to consider. Let's summarize this a little bit because we're going to start to get dwindled down on time now. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, what to buy? Let's go with a Rusty Nut certified summaries is always buy a truck, of a brand name that has a servicing dealer near the town that you call home. So maybe you live in Tierra Maria or something and there's no dealer. Okay. But your nearest dealer is who? Maybe it is Ford, maybe it's Chevy. So maybe you'll come down and talk to dealers here in town. Maybe you'll buy one out of Taos. But if you end up buying an off-breed vehicle that you don't have a servicing dealer, just getting service like you normally would might be difficult because the shop helping you, maybe Ranger can't buy that cabin air filter that he needs because we don't have a servicing dealer in that town. So just something to consider. We always like to talk about buying a vehicle with a servicing dealer near the town. And then you want to research that truck has the capability of doing what you want to. So maybe you don't own that camper yet, but you really want to own one. So knowing how big of a truck you need for that camper would really help you not regret it, because I meet a lot of clients that they want to increase the fuel carrying capacity maybe, right, as on their truck. So they want a bigger gas tank because they don't want to, they found out you can't buy diesel in some of these small towns. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe they should have bought a bigger truck to begin with that can handle that. Or maybe they want to improve the suspension for load carrying. Maybe they should have bought a 3/4 ton instead of a 1/2 ton. So those are the things. Usually it costs you more to add on to the truck than if you would have just bought what you needed to begin with. Mm-hmm. Not always, but in a lot of cases, you're better off just buying it as from the factory that was designed to do what your intentions are.
I do know that I feel that one for sure. Personally, on a personal note, I've bought vehicles over and over throughout my lifetime, and every one of them I thought I was cool putting on new stuff to it, and I just ended up spending more money. Now I see that you can get it right from the factory and pay for less and get it done the right way. It drives better. It doesn't rub on anything. You put on rims, they're from the factory. You put on tires, you put on a different suspension, whatever it be. I mean, it's going to run better than anything you're going to put on aftermarket because it was built for that vehicle.
In most cases, that's going to be true. Not always. There are some improvements.
All I'm saying is for modified, like for the cool stuff we're looking for. Most of the time, it's specifically made for that vehicle. So that stuff, that's always a plus.
I agree, and especially I always feel bad for people when they're like, well, they always start off, well, I need more power. Well, what about stopping the weight? Nobody took into account the brakes. So there's just a bunch of factors that come into owning a truck to do a specific purpose. There's a lot of trucks out there, and that's why I started off this show with owning 3 trucks has been my answer to being able to do whatever I want when I need to without having to borrow ass. Speaking of borrow ass, those of you who own a pickup can probably attest to this. Those of you buying one, be prepared to loan it out or get volunteered to help move.
Or rent it out, whatever you got to do.
Or you're going to be labeled as the mean guy who doesn't want to loan his truck out and doesn't want to help move. So trucks open new opportunities to car owners, such as higher ground clearance. You can go camping. You can go to the dump. Everybody claims they're going to the dump. You can go haul your own firewood maybe that you couldn't before when you had a car. You might be able to buy a camping trailer, a boat, on and on. There's just a bunch of advantages that come with that new ownership of something that has more capabilities than a car does.
Understood. That's awesome. It, and I like that idea because you're just presenting good facts. I mean, I think the best thing when buying a vehicle is it's up to the person who's buying it, but you should look at the facts and weigh them. And because it's a big investment, like you guys always say, it's the second biggest investment in your arsenal. And so you got a home and then you got your vehicle. So your vehicle's a truck. You should maybe look at the research, do a little homework, like you're back in 3rd grade, get your pen and paper out and write it down.
There you go. Pros and cons. And today's trucks really do have the ability. So a modern truck, a new truck has so many creature comfort features. I mean, they'll make your SUV, they're basically as equipped as your SUVs. You can get them with heated seats. You can get them with backup cameras. You can get them with infotainment systems, all those things, full leather, all that. And you can get it ready to hook up to that 5th wheel and gooseneck and do whatever you want with them. So You pay for all that, but those features are definitely available to truck owners as well as the car owners.
So it's not just cars that can be classy anymore; it's trucks too.
Man, I think Patricio would say, that he's such a man, he has a truck, but I don't know.
I'm a man that I had to buy a truck. That's what he'd say, something like that.
Yeah, probably.
You're a man if you can roll in a Subaru Forester, and that's what I do.
There you go. Yeah, and you just hold the mattress with one hand as you're going down the highway.
No. I got the Forester because it was inexpensive. I didn't have a payment, and my brother has a truck, so I borrow his.
Man, see, got to know somebody. If you don't have a truck, you got to have a brother that does, or a neighbor or something.
You have to know somebody. You do.
There you
But I
go.
like my favorite truck, though. If I had to name one, obviously this isn't a certified opinion, but it is my opinion. My favorite truck that you mentioned was the first one, the 4-cylinder, 2-wheel drive, the little go getter, because those ones they do for most of the hauling for sure. Like in town, you got to run around, do whatever. You put a bunch of stuff in the back. You can put your friends in the back. They're bugging you. You put them in the back. You're good. I'm kidding. That's a joke. We don't do that no more.
Oh, we're not allowed to do that. Back in the day, boy, I bet everyone listening could remember a time where we went.
That was the funnest. We used to beg our dad if we could sit in the back of the truck. He'd be like, "Okay, only if you hold on to the sides."
Yeah, you're sitting on the edge.
No sitting on the edge, exactly, and don't sit on the wheel well either.
Oh, we're tapping into the next show, brother. We got to go.
Okay, all righty, guys. Well, that does it for the Rusty Nut Show. God bless you all, and we will see you next Tuesday.